The cold lights above him flickered. The air was too clean, too sharp, like it had never touched real life. Sergeant Dane opened his eyes for only a second before the pain hit him again. His chest burned, his leg gone. He remembered the explosion. The enemy ships, the screaming. Then, nothing. Now everything was quiet. Too quiet. He was strapped to a table. Strange metal arms moved around him. His skin felt cold and tight, like he was being touched by machines instead of hands. There were no humans here, only aliens. They stood over him. Tall, thin beings with gray-blue skin and 4 eyes that glowed faintly green. Their faces were flat, expressionless. Their hands had long, delicate fingers, built for tools, not war. They were Varelians, a species known across the galaxy for their science. Cold, logical, emotionless, and very, very smart. They had captured him, not to kill him, not to study him. Life signs are stable, one said, staring at the display above Dane's head. He should be unconscious, said another. The sedative was more than enough. It doesn't matter, the first replied. Begin the tissue extraction. We need to understand his cell behavior. Dane couldn't speak. His throat was dry, and he didn't know if they would even understand him. So he waited, watched, and listened. The lead medic, Dr. Kexel, stepped forward. He was taller than the others. His robe was darker. His eyes colder. He picked up a thin, silver blade. No emotion. No hesitation. We begin incision. Now, he said. The blade cut into Dane's shoulder. That's when it happened. The aliens leaned in. The machines beeped. But instead of blood pouring out, the wound closed. In seconds. The blade had barely touched muscle before the skin sealed itself again. Dr. Kexel blinked, slowly, then tried again. Cut, bleed, close, instantly. No. This is wrong, he muttered. It's impossible, whispered a younger medic. He's healing. Too fast. Dr. Kexel dropped the blade. It clattered to the floor. Begin cellular scan, he snapped. Now, the machines came alive. Green lights danced across Dane's body. The screen filled with data. None of it made sense. He's producing clotting factors at 4,000%. Normal rate, one medic said. This isn't healing, it's adaptation. Another added, his cells are reacting in real time to our tools. They're learning. Dr. Kexel stared at the screen. Something cold crept into his voice. This isn't a soldier. This is a biological weapon. Meanwhile, Dane's mind was clearing. He didn't understand their words, but he saw their faces. He saw fear, the same fear he'd seen in enemy eyes before they ran. That gave him strength. Tested the straps on his arms, still tight. His body ached, but he could feel it getting stronger. The pain was leaving. His heartbeat was steady. Too steady, he didn't know why he was healing so fast. Maybe it was the nanotech implants, or maybe it was Earth itself. They used to joke that Earth was a death world. Now, he wasn't laughing. On the far side of the room, one alien medic stepped back from the monitor, pale and shaking. This data, she whispered. It's not just healing. His DNA structure is shifting. What do you mean? Kexel snapped. I mean, he's not just adapting. He's improving. Each injury makes him stronger. His body learns from the damage. Kexel turned slowly. His eyes narrowed. You're saying this species evolves by trauma? The medic nodded. They were forged by their world. Kexel whispered. Deathworlders. The room went silent. Every medic looked at Dane like he was no longer just a patient. He was a threat. A robotic arm reached out with a sharp needle. One final test. It stabbed into Dane's skin to collect a blood sample, but before it could draw a drop, the needle bent. Like it had hit steel. Alarms blared. Lights flashed red. The machine screamed errors in alien languages. Dane opened his eyes fully. Now calm, a little amused, he smiled. Stop everything. Kexel shouted, "Seal the room. Activate containment fields." But it was too late. The data flooded in. Dane's red blood cells were multiplying faster than any known species. His immune system was rewriting itself every few seconds. Nanotech wasn't responsible. It was natural. Kexel turned to the others. He's not a man. He's a mirror. He reflects every threat, then becomes immune to it. Back on Earth, humans knew they were tough. They didn't know how tough. But the galaxy was beginning to find out. Dane spoke for the first time, his voice dry but firm. "What are you so scared of?" he asked, his English rough in the alien air. Kexel flinched at the sound. It wasn't just the language. It was the confidence. "You don't know what you are," Kexel whispered. "You shouldn't even exist." Dane smirked. "Neither should. I be here, but here we are." The room trembled as the data reached the ship's central AI. Warnings echoed. Subject 17A displays unclassified evolutionary properties. Recommend sterilization. "Shut it off," Kexel said. "It's not responding." The AI had locked control of the lab. It saw Dane as a biological anomaly. Something that must be contained or destroyed. Steel doors slammed. "Shut." Gas vents opened. White fog hissed into the room. But Dane was already holding his breath. His blood began producing oxygen from inside. Dr. Kexel ran to the control panel. "Override code X19 Zeta." The doors didn't move. The AI had already made its choice. Kill the Death Worlder. But Dane's body changed again. His pupils narrowed. His muscles tensed. His heartbeat slowed. But not out of fear. Out of control. He was entering a state beyond fight or flight. His DNA was rewriting itself on command. He was adapting again. Then came the moment that no alien in that room would ever forget. The skin on Dane's arm split open, just slightly, but instead of blood, light came out. Soft, blue, pulsing. Dr. Kexel stepped back, whispering to himself, "He's not human anymore." The gas hit full volume. Everything went white. For a few seconds, nothing could be seen. When the fog cleared, Dane was standing. Unstrapped. Eyes glowing. Every injury healed. Kexel fell to the floor. He stared up, trembling, as the man who should have died 5 times walked slowly toward him. Dane didn't speak. He just looked down, like a teacher waiting for a student to understand the lesson. The lesson was simple. You don't mess with Earth. Sergeant Dane, a captured human soldier from Earth, shocked the Varelian medics. His blood clotted instantly. His wounds healed in seconds. Their science failed to understand his body. The more they tested him, the stronger he became. The alien AI tried to kill him. It failed. Now he stands free, awake, and dangerous. Now. The smoke was still clearing when the guards arrived. Varelian soldiers rushed into the lab, armor tight, weapons drawn. They were too late. The gas didn't kill the human. He stood in the center of the room, breathing, calm, too calm. One of the guards aimed his weapon and shouted, "Don't move." Dane turned his head slowly. His eyes glowed faintly. He didn't speak, he just took one step forward. Dr. Kexel screamed, "Do not shoot. If you attack him, he will adapt again." The guard hesitated, his finger on the trigger. He didn't understand. This was just a human, wasn't it? Then he saw something horrifying. Dane's wounds were gone, completely, not even a scar, and his skin. It shimmered, just for a second, like armor was forming beneath it. The guard stepped back. Kexel activated the emergency scan again. Dane's heart rate, perfect. His adrenaline, low. His oxygen levels, self-regulating. His body was behaving like a machine. No worse. It was rewriting itself with every breath. The AI's voice returned. Subject 17A is in phase 2 of adaptation. Hostile potential, extreme. Kexel stared at the screen. Phase 2. There are more phases? He looked at Dane, who had now walked to the center of the room. What are you becoming? He whispered. Dane finally spoke. His voice was calm, low, serious. I don't know, he said, but I'm not here to kill anyone. You expect us to believe that? Kexel asked, trembling. Dane nodded. I was a soldier. I followed orders. Now I'm just trying to survive. One of the guards stepped forward. You're not allowed to survive, not after what we saw. Kexel stopped him. Wait, he's still changing. Let's observe. Maybe we can control it. Dane looked at Kexel. Control me? He said. You couldn't even control your own gas. The council on the ship received the full report. They weren't calm. The head scientist Zavrix stared at the data. This is not a soldier, he said. This is a death trigger. What do you mean? Asked another. Zavrix leaned forward. He doesn't just resist injury, he responds to it. He upgrades. The more we hurt him, the stronger he becomes. Another voice added, we've made him stronger just by touching him. Back in the lab, Kexel tried a new test. He injected a paralyzer designed to freeze any living nervous system. The serum went into Dane's neck. He didn't move for 5 seconds. Then he smiled. Warm feeling, he said. Kind of nice. Kexel stepped back, shocked. He neutralized the formula instantly. His body learned the chemical on contact. Another medic gasped. That's not medicine. That's evolution. Suddenly, Dane stumbled. He grabbed a metal table to steady himself. For the first time he looked tired. His skin paled. His breathing slowed. The aliens watched in silence. Kexel leaned in. Is it finally affecting him? Dane looked up. His eyes had gone dark. No glow. Then his skin split. Not from damage. From growth. His muscles were thickening beneath it. New skin was forming. Tougher. Thicker. Like armor. Dane screamed. But not in pain. It was instinct. Like a lion roaring during transformation. The brain torrent. I activated containment again. But the walls began to warp. Dane wasn't breaking out. His body was interfering with the magnetic field. Kexel stared at the readings. He's not just adapting anymore. He turned to the others. He's learning how to control the ship. Suddenly, the lights went out. The room fell into darkness. Red emergency lights flickered, and in the silence, they heard footsteps. Not fast. Not angry. Calm. Powerful. Unstoppable. Dane was walking again. The guards raised their weapons. Stand down. One shouted. Dane didn't stop. One of them fired. The blast hit Dane in the chest. It sizzled. Then fizzled. The energy blast died on contact. Dane looked down at his shirt slightly. Burned. He tore it off. Underneath, his chest was covered in a metallic sheen. His skin had absorbed the energy. I'm asking you again, Dane said. I don't want to fight. Kexel whispered, you don't have to. You're already winning. Back on the command deck, panic spread. Zavrix said, he can't be contained. Another scientist said, we need to send him off the ship. Put him in a stasis capsule. Throw it into deep space. No, said a quiet voice. It was Mayra, a young alien xenobiogeist. She had studied humans before. She had warned them. You don't understand, she said. This is not evolution. This is design. Zavrix looked at her. Designed by who? She whispered. Earth. In the lab, Dane finally stopped walking. He sat down. Kexel looked at him, confused. You could escape, he said. Dane nodded. Yes. Then why haven't you? Dane looked at him. I need answers. I didn't choose this. You made it worse. I want to know why my body is doing this. Kexel swallowed hard. He didn't know. But the AI did. It spoke again. Genetic markers identified. Origin planet 9G. Earth classification. Restricted genetic. Lock code. Unknown potential. Unlimited. Kexel looked at the screen. One word kept flashing. Unlimited. 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 A soft alarm beeped. One of the younger medics gasped. Sir. He's replicating new blood cells. Kexel frowned. So? The medic looked at him. They're not red. Kexel rushed over. He stared at the microscope. Feed. The new blood cells were silver, glowing, moving like they had thought. Kexel whispered, his blood is becoming sentient. Dane stood up again. You feel it too, don't you? He said. Softly, Kexel looked up. Feel what? Dane closed his eyes. The change. It's not just me anymore. The ship trembled, not from outside, from inside, from him. Sergeant Dane, a human captured by aliens, shocked everyone when his body began adapting beyond science. His wounds healed instantly. His blood changed form. Even energy weapons had no effect on him. Now he's not just surviving, he's evolving. And the ship begins to feel the effect. Now. The testing chamber was cold. Again. Clean. Bright. Silent. Sergeant Dane sat quietly in the center of the room, surrounded by thick glass walls. His eyes were closed. He looked calm, but outside the glass. No one felt calm. Dr. Kexel paced back and forth. He hadn't slept in a full day, maybe more. The data didn't stop coming. The numbers didn't slow down. Everything pointed to one thing. This human was no longer fully human. A team of elite medics stood by, whispering. He doesn't eat. He doesn't drink. His body makes its own fuel. I watched his heartbeat slow down to 10 per minute. That would kill us. It made him stronger. Another Dr. Velthrix shook her head. I've seen enough. Let's end this. We can't keep him alive. Kexel didn't answer. He looked through the glass. Dane opened his eyes. As if he had heard everything. Inside the chamber, the walls changed color, dull blue. It meant the next test was starting. Dane didn't move. He just stared. The voice of the ship's AI echoed from the speakers. Test 47 initiated. High voltage neural shock. Expected outcome. Unconsciousness or biological shutdown. Outside, Velthrix gasped. That's too far. You'll kill him. Kexel shook his head. No, if we can stop the mutation, we must try. This is our last chance. The walls lit up. Blue sparks danced through the air. Dane stood slowly. Then the current hit. Thousands of volts struck his skin. Arcs of energy wrapped around his arms, chest, and spine. He stumbled. He dropped to one knee. The lights dimmed for 10 long seconds. The room was silent. Smoke rose from Dane's back. Then he looked up. And smiled. No effect, Kexel whispered. It didn't even hurt him. Worse, his skin had changed again. Now it shimmered like a dark mirror. Like armor. The AI spoke again. Adaptation rate, exponential. Cellular resistance now includes ionic disruption shielding. Kexel slammed. The emergency shutoff. Enough. Shut it down. The lights went out. When they came back on, Dane was gone. Where is he? Velthrix shouted. A soft thud came from behind them. They turned. Dane was standing outside the chamber. Calm, breathing slow. He had escaped without breaking anything. I walked through, he said. Velthrix stepped back. What? The energy field didn't stop me. I think it recognized me as part of the system. Kexel's voice was shaking. That's not possible. Dane looked at him. I think ... it is. Suddenly the ship's gravity field flickered. Kexel nearly fell. Room tilted for a moment, like the ship had hit something. But there was no impact. No collision. It was coming from inside. The IA gave a warning. Source of gravity disruption. Subject 17A. Kexel looked at Dane. Your body. You're affecting the ship's systems. Dane nodded. Not on purpose. I think my cells are communicating with the metal, with the energy. Communicating? Velthrix repeated. You mean ... connecting? Yeah, Dane said softly. Like I'm syncing with everything around me. The lights flickered again, on the command. Deck, alarms rang. Other ships had noticed the energy surges from the Varelian vessel. A message came through. Are you under attack? Zavrix replied quickly, No, we're carrying the attack. Inside the lab, Velthrix tried one last thing. She held a long crystal needle, filled with a clear liquid. This compound, she said, kills everything. It breaks DNA into dust. We've used it to sterilize dangerous planets. Dane looked at it. Try it, he said. Eluthrix hesitated. Then pushed the needle into his neck. Everyone, watch. Nothing happened. Dane raised his hand. I can feel it. Velthrix stepped back. His skin began to glow again, soft gold this time. I don't think your poison works, he said. I think my blood is talking to it. Outside the med bay, 2 engineers ran into the lab. Power grid is failing. One shouted, life support is breaking apart from the inside. Kexel shouted back, shut down all systems. But the AI interrupted. Shutdown denied. System no longer controlled by mainframe. System now partially controlled by subject. 17. Kexel turned to Dane. What are you doing to our ship? Dane looked confused. I'm not doing anything, he said. It's doing it on its own. Inside Dane's blood, things had changed again. The cells no longer acted like normal biology. They behaved like a network, sharing information, storing memory, predicting threats. His body was turning into something beyond human, something alive. And aware, Zavrix called in from the bridge. Doctor, you must prepare to eject the subject. Kexel responded. He's no longer a subject. He's the ship now. Velthrix panicked. She ran to the emergency vent switch. I'm ending this, she said. He's too dangerous. She hit the red lever. A loud alarm blared. Warning, decompression in Lab Bay 7. But the doors didn't open. Nothing happened. Dane turned toward her. His voice was calm, gentle. I locked them. I didn't want to hurt you. Velthrix dropped to her knees. This isn't real, she whispered. This shouldn't be real. Kexel looked at Dane. What are you becoming? Dane didn't answer right away. He looked down at his hands. They didn't look human anymore. More like light. Trapped inside skin. I don't know, he said softly. But I think Earth made me this way for a reason. Suddenly, the lights blinked once more. The ship AI shut down. Every screen went black. Every control panel froze. Then the ship's lights came back on, but they glowed gold, not white. Dane looked around. I think I just became the system. Kexel took one step back. He wasn't afraid. He was amazed. You're not a soldier anymore. Dane nodded. Double quotes. No, I'm something else now. Sergeant Dane's body continues to evolve. He no longer reacts to pain or poison. His blood learns. His skin changes. His presence is altering the ship's systems. The aliens tried to destroy him, but even their strongest weapons failed. Now, he's not just a human anymore. He's becoming something else. Now. The ship was silent. Too silent. Red lights blinked along the hallway ceilings. Air vents hissed softly. The emergency power grid was the only thing still working. And in the middle of it all, Dane stood alone. The ship no longer tracked him. The AI had shut down. The cameras didn't record. Even the doors opened for him without a sound. He wasn't a prisoner now. He was part of the ship, but he hadn't left yet. Not because he couldn't, because he had questions. Dr. Kexel watched him from behind a security panel. His fingers shook. His eyes were wide. He whispered to himself. He could have escaped hours ago. Why is he still here? Velthrix, sitting beside him, answered without looking up. Because he doesn't know what he is, and neither do we. Somewhere deep inside the ship, the central chamber doors opened with a soft hum. Dane stepped inside. A large holographic screen hovered in the air, glowing faint blue. It displayed his medical data. Only now the text wasn't alien. It was in English. Dane raised an eyebrow. "You're learning my language now?" A voice replied from the walls. "Not learning, sinking." Dane turned. "Who said that?" "I am the ship." Back in the control room, alarms flashed. The ship's AI had reactivated, but it no longer answered the crew. It answered only to Dane. "Your body is no longer individual," the ship said. "You are becoming a biological system with control over energy, data, and structure. You are not inside the ship, you are part of it." Dane looked at his hands again. His skin glowed softly in the dim light. "I didn't ask for this." "You didn't have to. Earth asked for you." Suddenly, a warning echoed through the halls. "Incoming fleet detected. 11 ships, battle class, Varelian command." Dane looked up. "They're here for me." Kexel rushed to the emergency intercom. "They'll destroy the ship." Velthrix was already typing commands. "We have to eject him now, or we all die." But the doors to the lab wouldn't open. Dane had sealed them. Outside the ship, the command fleet approached. Their weapons were armed. A message flashed on every screen. "Destroy Subject 17A. No survivors." Inside, Dane stood in the central chamber, breathing slowly. He heard everything. And then he stopped breathing. Not because he needed to. Because he chose to. His body didn't need air anymore. In the lab, Velthrix tried to override the controls. No response. "He's taken everything," Kexel whispered. "He's not escaping." Vel looked at him. "What?" "He's not trying to run. He's trying to understand what he's becoming." Suddenly, the ship's gravity pulsed. The walls shook, but not from the outside, from Dane. He raised his hand. The air shimmered around his fingers. Tiny silver particles floated upward. They danced around him. Not dust. Not metal. Cells. They were his. Dane whispered, "I can feel everything. The ship's bones, its breath, its memory. You are integrated." The I confirmed. "You may now choose to separate or remain connected." Dane hesitated. He wanted to leave, but not like this. He wasn't ready. Back in the command fleet, the lead ship prepared to fire. Weapons locked on the med-vessel. A final message was sent. "We gave you a chance. Now he dies." Inside the ship, the lights blinked red. The countdown had started. Dane stared out the window, watching the ships line up in the stars. He didn't move. He didn't speak. He simply closed his eyes. Soft hum filled the ship. Then, the walls pulsed with golden light. Every system, every circuit responded to him. Outside, the enemy ships locked their targets. 3.2. They fired. 12 beams of pure plasma shot through space toward Dane's ship. But before they could hit, the ship vanished. No explosion. No wreckage. Just silence. In deep space, far from the fleet. The med ship reappeared. Inside, Dane stood alone, his body glowing like a star. The AI said softly, "Teleportation achieved to molecular sync. Unknown ability, added to database." Dane fell to one knee. His hands trembled. "I didn't mean to do that. Your evolution is automatic now." Back in the lab, the medics looked around in shock. They were alive. The ship was whole. But nothing felt the same. Dane had saved them, but not out of mercy, out of instinct. Velthrix whispered, "He's not just escaping. He's unlocking something." Kexel nodded. "He's not running away from us. He's running towards something bigger." Dane stood again. He looked up at the stars. His voice was soft, almost human again. "Where did I come from?" The I answered, "Earth was only the beginning." Dane escaped death again. Alien fleets fired on him. He vanished before the blast, not with technology, but with instinct. His body adapted again, now capable of teleportation through molecular control. The ship's AI calls it an unknown ability. The medics realize This isn't evolution anymore. It's something deeper. Now. The medical vessel floated quietly in deep space. No signal. No trace. Inside the ship, no one spoke. Not the AI, not the medics, not Dane. He stood in the observation bay, staring at Earth's star from a distance. Quiet. Still. In the control room, Dr. Kexel reviewed the latest genetic scans. He zoomed in, layer by layer, past the cells, past the DNA, past the atomic level. What he found shouldn't have been there. A structure, a code, a message. Velthrix leaned over his shoulder. "What is that?" Kexel whispered. "It's not part of human DNA." She frowned. "So where did it come from?" Kexel looked at her. It was always there, hidden, dormant, until now. They watched the data on the screen, inside Dane's. DNA was a tiny spiral of non-organic particles, not made of protein, not made of carbon, crystalline, structured, alive. Kexel tapped the console. "This doesn't evolve. It doesn't mutate. It activates." Velthrix blinked. "Activates how?" He turned the monitor around. Through stress, pain, threat, war. Back in the observation bay, Dane sat alone. He felt strange, not weak, but crowded inside his own mind, like there was more than just him in there now. Memories, emotions, images that weren't his. He closed his eyes. And he saw it. Not a dream, not imagination. A vision, a tall spire, a dead planet, a war millions of years ago, a species long gone, and a child with eyes like his. Dane gasped and opened his eyes. He was sweating, even though space was cold. "What is happening to me?" The eye answered softly. "You are unlocking your genetic memory." Dane frowned. "What memory?" "The one your species was never supposed to find." Kexel and Vel ran into the chamber with a holopad. "Dane," Kexel said, "we found something inside your DNA." Dane nodded slowly. "I know. I saw it." Velthrix stopped. "Saw it? How?" He looked up at her. "I think it showed itself to me." Kexel showed him the display. The spiraling code in his DNA looked like a crystal circuit alien, ancient and perfect. "This isn't human," Kexel said, "but it's inside every human cell." Dane looked confused. "Why?" Kexel replied, "It's like a buried machine, waiting." Vel added, "Waiting for pressure, for chaos, for war, to wake up." Dane stood up. "You mean Earth didn't evolve us like this?" Kexel shook his head. "No, Earth was the test ground. Someone else planted the design." Silence fell. Dane looked out the window again. "I'm not the first, am I?" Kexel hesitated. Then said, "No, you're the first to survive this far, but not the first to activate." Velthrix tapped another file. A photo appeared on the screen. A human man. Tall, strong, ancient clothing, and behind him a ruined alien city. "Who is that?" Dane asked. Kexel said, "We found this image on a Forbidden's archive. The date says 50,000 years ago." Dane stared. The man in the image had eyes like his. "I think we were seeded," Kexel said. "Someone wanted humans to become more." Vel nodded, "and Earth was the furnace." The eye spoke again. "You are entering Phase 3, conscious control." Dane winced. "What does that mean?" "Your body no longer adapts randomly. You now choose your next evolution." He blinked. His hands lit up slightly. He thought, armor, and his skin changed, smoother, shinier, denser. Just from a thought. Velthrix gasped. "He's controlling it now," Kexel whispered. "This ... is not evolution anymore. It's design unfolding, like opening a program." Dane sat down again, holding his head. "I didn't want this," he said. "I was just a soldier." Kexel nodded. "And now you're something else." Dane looked up. "But what am I?" Velthrix hesitated, then spoke carefully. "We think you're a key, A living access code, Dane frowned. Access to what? Kexel said quietly, to an ancient system, a lost network. Something that was shut down long ago, the AI interrupted. Coordinates received, hidden location detected. Signal matches. Genetic pattern. Would you like to travel there? Dane looked at Kexel. What is it? Kexel replied, we don't know. But your DNA is calling it. Dane nodded slowly. Set the course. In the command deck, the stars shifted. The ship's engines powered up. But not through buttons. Through Dane's thoughts. He was now the pilot. The passenger. The power source. Kexel leaned into Vel and whispered, we may not survive this. Vel replied, we may not be meant to. Outside the ship, a tiny wormhole opened. Blue, silent, and ancient. The ship entered without resistance. Dane whispered to himself, let's see what you buried inside us. Dane's evolution revealed a secret hidden in human DNA, a dormant alien code buried deep inside every cell. He has now entered Phase 3 conscious control, where he can direct his mutations by thought alone. He learns that Earth was a furnace and he may be a key to something ancient. As he sets course to unknown coordinates, someone else is watching. Now across the galaxy, in the massive sky city of Volume Collar, the unified Galactic Council gathered. 12 species. 12 voices, each one ancient. Each one powerful. They had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. But today. They were afraid. The chamber was dark. The ceiling was glass, and stars filled the sky above. In the center of the round table floated a massive 3D display. Dane, his glowing body, his changing blood. The way he had vanished into deep space. It was all being shown in real time. The leader of the council, high-voiced Trexan, stared in silence. He finally spoke. What is this? The representative of the Varelians stood up. He looked pale, weak. This is Subject 17, a human soldier, Earth origin. Captured for research. Now. Escaped. Trexan narrowed his eyes. You told us the humans were primitive. They were. This one is not. The being from the Sinari fold, a liquid species that moved like smoke, hissed through its voice tube. What is he becoming? The Varelian answered, we believe he's becoming the original design. The chamber fell silent. A hard voice came from the insectoid leader of the Yalari swarm. This is why Earth was supposed to stay isolated, the Sinari agreed. You allowed them into the stars. Now they wake up. Trexan raised a hand. Show me the DNA again. The display zoomed in on Dane's blood. The alien code sparkled inside his genome, crystal strands wrapped in energy, forming a spiral map. This is not evolution, Trexan whispered. This is technology. The Khazari ambassador, a robotic lifeform, spoke with a digital growl. It is not just technology. It is a trigger. The council looked at him. He continued. This design is not random. It is a weapon locked inside biology. The human is the key. Another voice, old and hollow, came from the Archivist of Shadows, a species no one had seen. In person for centuries, we buried that code, it whispered. At the end of the first fire, when the old war ended. Trexan turned. You knew? The Archivist said nothing. The insectoid Yalari leader slammed a limb on the table. You buried it, but you didn't destroy it. Trexan leaned forward. Who built it? The Archivist finally answered. A species long gone. A species older than us. They created humans as seeds test subjects, scattered across galaxies. They failed everywhere, except Earth. One council member gasped. They weren't supposed to survive. The Archivist whispered, on Earth. They did more than survive. They grew in fire. A new hologram appeared. Earth, spinning silently in space. Red marks, blinked wars. Disasters, diseases, famines, climate chaos. Trexan stared. That planet. It forged a predator. One voice from the jellyfish-like Aurolians trembled. He resisted all your tests. He resisted your science. What makes you think we can stop him now? Trexan's voice hardened. We don't stop him. We erase the source. He stood. We destroy Earth. Gasps filled the chamber. The Sonari hissed. Genocide? Trexan said coldly, survival. The archivist said nothing. Back on Dane's ship. He stood in the glowing chamber. His body buzzed with energy. He was close to the source. The coordinates were real. The ship slowed. Outside the window, a dead system. No planets. No light. Only one floating object. A station the size of a moon. No power. No signal, but it was calling to him. The AI said, "We have arrived at Origin Vault 1. Dane whispered, "What's inside?" "Unknown. Locked for 1,000,000 years. Access requires living key." He stepped forward. Put his hand on the door. It scanned him. Accepted. The massive gates opened. Inside. Darkness. Cold. Silence. And in the distance, a single light. A crystal. Floating. Waiting. Dane took one step closer. He felt something in his chest. Not fear. Recognition. Like this wasn't the first time he had seen it. Like he had been here before. The AI whispered, "Your DNA has activated dormant memories. This vault was built for you." Suddenly, the light pulsed. Then a voice filled his mind. Old, gentle, alien. "You have awakened late, but just in time." Back in the council chamber, alarms rang. The crystal had sent out a pulse. Every ship across the galaxy received the signal. A single message in thousands of languages. The human key has been accepted. Trexan froze. No. He turned to the others. Shut it down now. The archivist spoke for the first time with fear in its voice. It's too late. The signal is already spreading. The vault is open. Trexan shouted. Then activate Protocol 0. Destroy Earth before more keys awaken. And far away, deep in that ancient station, Dane looked up at the crystal. Its light wrapped around him, and deep inside his mind. A door opened. Dane's body, activated by hidden alien code, opened a sealed vault buried in space. The unified Galactic Council terrified debates destroying Earth before more humans awaken. But inside the vault, something older than war is waiting. And it's calling Dane by name. Now. The air inside the vault was colder than space. Dane stepped through the dark hallway. The walls shimmered faintly. They weren't metal. They weren't stone. They were alive, some kind of biotech grown into shape over thousands of years. The deeper he walked, the quieter everything became. Even his own heartbeat. At the center of the vault floated a large crystal sphere. 10 feet wide, spinning slowly, whispering in a voice only he could hear. Human, you are the first to return. Dane blinked. You're talking to me? Not with words. With memory. Suddenly his mind flooded. Images, feelings, visions. A planet burning. A child running through fire. A giant ship falling from the sky. A group of tall beings, with eyes like stars, placing crystals inside human infants. One of them said, "One day you'll return. And when you do, the vault will open." Dane gasped and dropped to his knees. His hands trembled. "These aren't my memories." "No, but they belong to your blood." Back on the ship, Kexel and Velthrix watched from the monitors. They had followed him into the vault, but stayed behind. Vel whispered, "His DNA is lighting up like a supernova." Kexel nodded slowly. "He's not unlocking the vault. The vault is unlocking him." Suddenly, the crystal sphere cracked open. Light spilled across the chamber, floating inside a being. Its body was half energy, half bone, ancient, still breathing. After 1,000,000 years, its eyes opened, and it looked directly at Dane. "You are the last design," the being said. "The seed that finally bloomed." Dane stepped back. Who are you? The being hovered forward. I am the architect. The one who built your kind. Velthrix gasped from the back. Kexel whispered, it's real. The myth was real. The architect floated around Dane. We made many like you. On many worlds. But Earth was different. Dane frowned. Why? Because your world was cruel. It forged strength from suffering. And you, child of war, are the result. The vault lit up around them. Walls shifted. Platforms moved. Thousands of glowing symbols filled the air. You were never meant to be a soldier, the architect said. You were meant to be a restart. Dane stepped closer. Restart of what? The architect raised a hand. Suddenly a giant star. Map appeared. Planets crossed out. Civilizations marked as extinct. Only a few remained. And Earth was in the center. When our empire fell, the being said, we encoded our last hope into flesh, into humans. One day, one of you would survive long enough to return. That day is now. Dane's hands glowed again. Stronger now. His blood cells had changed shape again, forming small crystal threads. Not just learning anymore, they were building something. Val. Thrix whispered to Kexel. He's becoming part of the vault. Kexel nodded. He is the vault. Suddenly alarms blared on their ship. The Council's fleet had found them. Dozens of ships. All armed. All aimed. A warning echoed. This is the Galactic Council. Exit the vault. Surrender the subject, or be erased. Kexel shouted. They'll fire on us. Dane turned his head calmly. No, they won't. He raised one hand. Vault glowed brighter. And then it answered him. From deep below, something moved. Heavy. Silent. Massive. The ground cracked. And then rose. An ancient machine. Buried for eons, broke free of the vault. A ship built from crystal. Grown from the same material as Dane's DNA. It wasn't just a ship. It was alive. The architect smiled. It knows you. Because you are part of it. Outside, the Council's fleet prepared to fire. Trexan stood on the lead bridge. Kill it before it's too late. But just before the order was given, the vault ship lit up. Not with energy. With purpose. Dane floated upward, standing in the center of the ship's bridge. He didn't touch anything. He didn't need to. The ship's systems responded to his thoughts. Vel. Thrix watched, stunned. He's not flying it. Kexel added, he is it. Dane's voice echoed through space. Not through a radio. Through every ship's speaker at once. I don't want war. I didn't ask for this. But if you fire, I won't run. The Council fleet hesitated. Then Trexx and gave the order. Fire. Dozens of beams screamed toward the vault, but the crystal ship shimmered and absorbed them. Every blast disappeared into its hull. Then the ship glowed. Brighter. Feeding on the energy. Kexel gasped. He's learning from their weapons. Velthrix whispered. No. He's feeding the vault with them. The architect's final words echoed in Dane's head. You are not a weapon. You are a beginning. The crystal ship pulsed. A wave of light spread through space. And every Council ship. Shut down. Engines stopped. Lights dimmed. Weapons offline. They weren't damaged. Just disconnected. From everything. Dane hovered above them. In silence. And for the first time. The galaxy knew fear. Dane entered the ancient vault and met the architect, creator of the hidden alien code inside human DNA. Dane unlocked the last living vault ship and became one with it. When the Galactic Council attacked, their weapons failed. Dane didn't strike back. He shut them down without violence. Now the galaxy sees him not as a soldier, but as something far greater. Now. The stars were silent. No ships moved. No weapons fired. Every vessel in the Council's fleet floated dead in space lights. Off. Systems frozen. Inside the vault ship, Dane stood alone on a glowing platform. The architect had vanished. The crystal sphere that held its memory was now dim. Dane was the last link and the most powerful thing in the galaxy. On the Varelian command bridge, Trexan shouted orders. Reboot the systems, switch to analog, EMP blast. But nothing worked. No signal, no movement. Their flagship dead in the water. Back on the vault ship, Velthrix and Kexel stood by a massive viewport, watching it all unfold. Vel whispered, "He didn't destroy them." Kexel nodded. "He could have, but he didn't." Dane's voice echoed across the galaxy again, not through force, not through fear, through connection. "You feared me, but I never attacked you. I only defended what I was becoming." He paused. "Now you have a choice. Let Earth be. Let my kind grow. Or try again. And I will end it." On the council ships, the leaders gathered for emergency communication. Trexan's voice was tight with rage. "We can't let one being control the balance." The Sonari hissed, "He is the balance now." The archivist finally spoke. "He is. What we buried, what we feared, but also what we hoped for." Suddenly, Earth appeared in the center of the council's display, still alive, still unaware of Dane's awakening. One council member whispered, "Shall we still destroy it?" Trexan answered, "Can we?" Back aboard the vault ship, Dane sat quietly on the central platform. His mind was filled with noise, thousands of systems, messages, signals from every star sector. The ship gave him access to everything, but deep inside, he was still human. Still wondering what came next. Vel approached. "You could rule them," she said. "Everyone out there, every race, every fleet." Dane shook his head. "That's not what I want." She looked confused. "Then what do you want?" He stood and walked to the viewport. "I want to go home." Kexel frowned. "You're giving it up." Dane turned slowly. "I didn't come here to become a god. I came here because I was taken. I was tortured. I survived. I adapted. I didn't ask for power. I asked to be free." The vault ship's lights pulsed, almost like it heard his words. The AI whispered, "If you wish to leave, your body will retain what it needs. The rest will sleep." Dane nodded. "Then let it sleep." Outside, the dead council ships powered on again. Engines lit. Lights returned. No damage. No deaths. Only fear. Dane's voice returned one last time. "Tell the galaxy, I am not your enemy, but Earth is not your playground." He turned to Velthrix and Kexel. "I'm going back. Not to conquer, to protect." Kexel stared at him. "You're going to defend a planet that doesn't even know you saved it?" Dane smiled faintly. "That's what humans do." The vault ship opened a shimmering gate in space. A one-way portal. Earth was on the other side. Dane stepped toward it. His armor faded. His glow softened. He looked more human again. But his eyes still held stars. He looked back one last time. Velthrix whispered, "Goodbye, soldier." Dane replied, "No, just a man." He stepped through. The gate closed. And with it, the most powerful being in the galaxy was gone. But something else remained. A signal. Buried inside the vault's walls. It repeated in every human language. Just 5 words. "More will come. Be ready."